mean you have other targets. You've collected thousands of samples in advance. This isn't, you have to now go out and do all, you've already done it. You've got other targets. And, well, what are the odds that one of these other places you've got is also going to be a big winner? Holy crap, this thing is ramping up. And so there's a leverage aspect to what we're doing that is very unique, separate from all of our other peers in the business. What we've done is spend a lot of time getting that quietly sitting here in the shadows and the sidelines, setting dominoes up, to one day kick over, one of these dominoes, and you get back and watch the entire little sinuoid, all the dominoes fall.
70% of all gold production in the U.S. comes from a single state, Nevada. Conventional wisdom says that all the good deposits have been found. But one geologist who's discovered more than 30 million ounces of gold says he knows where to find Nevada's missing gold. And right now, he may be on the verge of being proven right. Investors and speculators can learn more at crushthestreet.com/gold.
Hello, everyone, and welcome into crushthestreet.com. I'm joined today with a mining expert, Wade Hodges, actually, of Nevada Exploration. He's the CEO and director. And you know what? Really, nobody knows gold like this man, considering he's responsible for the discovery of 30 million ounces of gold in Nevada. And he's really on his way to adding more ounces to his resume, especially with the developing company news of Nevada Exploration. First of all, Wade Hodges, thanks for joining me.
Very happy to be here, Kenneth. Thanks for having me.
Wade, I got to ask you about what we're seeing here with precious metals. I mean, we're rounding the corner with such uncertainty from the election, uncertainty in the markets, overvaluations of the stock market, the IMF inclusion of the yuan, bond market bubble. I mean, do I need to keep going? So much uncertainty. Gold is holding up. Interestingly enough, though, Silver's been hit, but gold has been holding up. I mean, what are your initial thoughts on this?
Well, everything you said is true. We could sit here and joke and add to the list of problems and uncertainty. And of course, to me, it's the place to be, and I think a lot of your listeners as well. It's not necessarily all bad because there's so much going on, so much to discuss and talk about, and of course, we're all trying to sort it out and extract meaning. What are the patterns? And when I work through all this stuff personally, I come back to the conclusion that no matter what the resolution is, which way the price of gold moves this month, this week, if you can find gold for a few dollars an ounce, it really doesn't make any difference if you can sell it for 1,000 or 500 or 3,000. There's just a lot of value that can be realized. If you're in the end of the pipeline, if you will, if you're in the production mode, you're a lot more sensitive to the price of gold, of course, the future expectations of what you're going to be able to sell your product for, which you can't control, the price. And so it wreaks havoc with something that takes a long time to expand or adjust production to make things scalable. And to me, the actual mining part of the game has just always been fraught with even greater uncertainty.
Yeah.
And as you work your way down the pipeline to exploration, it's a lot less cluttered down here. There's a lot less people screaming at you. There's certainly regulations that you need to be worried about, but it's not nearly what you have if you've got a producing operation. And so I find it much more comfortable. There's more air to breathe. You have less competition. And if you can stay focused on technology that allows you to discover that gold, that's really, I think, the best place to be to reduce the risk and uncertainty in these uncertain times.
Right.
And that's what I've chosen to focus on. I think we've got a good technology, and it's really steady as you go. We keep our sights set on developing something that has the power to not just, find one deposit to get on you, but potentially many. And it's that leveraging aspect that really gets me excited.
Just the fact that mining stocks here have seen this correction, it really does provide that opportunity, especially, if you believe like I do that we're in that bull market trend now and things are, trending higher. Seeing these corrections in the market is opportune if you want to accumulate. If you want to take that opportunity and, heavily accumulate when things go on sale. Things haven't been as on sale as they were at the beginning of the year, but nobody calls the bottom. It's not perfect, to be able to do that, but to take the opportunity to get in and more aggressively accumulate when prices go on sale, that is ideal. And I think it's interesting being an explorer at the early stages of the bull market, and like what you said, when the price of gold goes much higher, and say a company like yourself is in a position to produce or sell to a producer, that is kind of the perfect timing, because gold might be a lot higher and you guys might be in a place where you're producing and selling gold for a much higher price than you paid into all of the development of the company.
Totally. If you believe that in the long run gold is going up and it's a good thing to have, and it's just here in the short run we got all this uncertainty, then clearly you want to position yourself with at least some part of your investment resources positioned in a company like ours, an exploration, because there is lead time involved. It does take time, and I don't think there's a better bet, because you're going to get companies like Nevada Exploration at the lowest cost possible, and then be in a position where you don't have to worry about chasing it or picking the exact timing. You really can just relax and pay attention to the story and actually have some fun along the way of actually understanding something about what's going on. In exploration stories, the more you understand, I think the better investor you are in other situations where you can use the knowledge you gain to pick the ones that are closer to the discovery holes, the big production news releases, and so on. We've got a couple of companies in the news recently that attracted my attention as an explorationist. New Legacy's work at a little deposit they call Red Hills, or what looks like a new discovery, is really good. Roger Steiniger's doing a great job, and the thing that got my attention is that they actually drilled some holes out in some gravel-covered areas, which is what our focus is, and by golly, they got lucky. They hit some interesting mineralization. So now that the game is on, and let's do more drilling and so on. And what it does is it shows exactly what we're trying to do can still be done, and it can be done in the conventional ways, which is basically kind of poke and hope drilling, extrapolations, and you need a big treasury to do that kind of stuff. I just wonder what the results would have been if we had been out there taking our water chemistry samples over this area, and would love to see what the anomaly might have been like. And I suggest that it would dramatically lower the costs and speed up the day of the big discovery. And Gold Standard's doing a great job too at Railroad. They're finding some holes in covered situations, and the mineralization is still there. It's not something that you have to listen to me talk about the potential of Nevada and, oh yeah, sure. It actually is there. People are back to spending money in focused areas, and so people have learned how these deposits are formed. And part of what I like to encourage investors do is to go to our website and look at some of the images, the pictures. I mean, shoot, everyone's website, and learn as much as you can about what are the early clues that give you the edge, basically, in this game.
Well, Wade, I'd like to ask you about the dynamic that is going on in Nevada at the moment with property claims and targets and these companies that are, trying to gobble up, these land packages. You guys had some big news this week where you doubled your land holdings at the Grass Valley project. Talk to us about how big of a deal this is.
Well, gosh, when I started in this business almost 40 years ago now, it was a common knowledge that if you didn't have land, you didn't have anything. You could have all the money in the world, you could have the best people and the best ideas, but if you didn't have a place, the mineral rights, if you didn't control some land, what the heck good is it? And it was a time when there was huge land rush. I mean, people were just going after staking the mineral rights because it seemed like gold was everywhere. And so people didn't need to be particularly smart or educated in geology. They just knew that, we'll just get it and let the other guys figure it out. And so that allowed them to move very fast. And so today, I wouldn't say that it's the same level of interest in having land, but it is very clear that the same principles apply. You need to have land in order to really do, to make a discovery, to bring it to fruition, and to actually end up having something. Now, there's also this need for land is driven by the issues surrounding various regulatory additions to the plate of oversight. And there's a big difference between private land and BLM land. And I know some of the majors are out there spending large sums to purchase large private land, ranches and so on. And the idea is it becomes like a land bank to where they can trade it off when they find minerals on BLM properties and so on. So there is quite a focus on trying to play this game, strategically. And in our case, we're a little bit unique in that, well, yes, we do need land. We do need to control the mineral rights at some point. Our technology allows us to identify these target areas without actually having to own the land in advance. There's still plenty of open land out there, and most of this open land sits not in the mountain ranges, but out in the areas that nobody can see what the rocks look like. And it becomes a question. It's not inexpensive to hold the mineral rights, to pay these fees to the government every year. And so you need to have a real clear plan of what the heck you're going to do with it. Because I don't think people are in a state right now to where they, just because you have a lot of land, then okay, let's place a big bet on the companies that have the most land, because what are you going to do with it? And if you can't even see the rocks, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. So we're focused on in the gravel-covered areas between the mountain ranges with the knowledge that we have gold in very large amounts in groundwater, which gives us a tremendous clue about a specific area. And when we find those kind of anomalies, we've got two choices. We can either put them in an inventory and keep them on a shelf to where other people basically don't know about them and not have to incur the cost. So it's like having an inventory of our primary product, which are exploration targets, that bears no holding costs. But as soon as we find something we feel strongly enough about, in our case, we definitely want to get more aggressive. We're taking more money, spending it, more time, increasing the potential risk. If we do find something, we don't own the mineral rights, that makes no sense. You've got to. So at some point in the thought process, it's very critical. When do you drop the hammer on staking additional land? And what we've done in the case of Grass Valley is reviewing the data that has been collected there over the last several years and come to the conclusion that, this thing is definitely something that we need to control the mineral rights on. So that's what we've done is double our land holdings to bring more focus to that area. We've done that with a project we call Kelly Creek Basin, near Hot Pot, and then we've just done that with South Grass Valley as well. And so those three target areas now are growing in size. It gives us a lot of room to be able to focus. Now, we're also driven, as soon as we pick up those claims, there's a cost associated with that every September 1st. And it's to everyone's best advantage to focus on those areas and to make a decision. Is this really worth moving forward, or do we want to back off? We need to test the conclusion. I think that's something else that investors would just as soon see, that people are not just continuing to talk about it, but they're actually driven to move on it, to actually start drilling and so on. Because that's where the discoveries are, really, really made. And so that's the position that we find ourselves in. There are other companies out there as well that drive our concerns for acquiring these projects or these land positions, that adjacent companies that are also picking up their activities. And so we're looking very hard at making sure that we stay ahead of that kind of, call it a land rush curve.
Wade,
so that
let me just jump in right there. I wanted to ask you about the proprietary technology that you guys have, and what sort of competitive advantage that Nevada Exploration has over these other companies, considering it is proprietary technology for discovering gold in otherwise hard to reach areas?
Well, we work primarily in water chemistry space. Now, to say that doesn't mean we just only use that tool. If you're a hunting dog, you don't just use your nose. You might primarily use it to pick out the scent of your quarry, but you also use your eyes and ears and everything else. And you're thinking about all of the conventional tools that are available. It's just that we have an additional tool in our kit that continues to get improved and refined, that puts us really, it's so far ahead of the competition that it's frustrating at times, because I almost feel like what we need to do is slow down a bit and then help other people understand exactly what we're doing to where they can actually start using it themselves. We'll still always be ahead of the game, but it doesn't hurt at all now to, with the number of targets we've got, the data that we've collected, what we know about the technology, to encourage these other companies to pay attention to it, because it's only going to allow them to make more discoveries. It's going to improve the investing climate as people see, oh, these guys can find gold. Nevada is still the best place in the world to find it. You find a big deposit in a foreign country, it's as hard as it is to find it. There's this new movie I just saw. Somebody sent a trailer to me called Gold. It's coming out in Christmas time. Christmas, is a movie trailer out. They sent it to me when we needed to know what I thought of it, and it's based on the story of Aurelian. True story, true events, and looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. So your listeners should, put that on their watch list or check out the trailer. But the point is, you need to be able to be in a situation where you can now keep it and actually realize some value from all your hard work, and that's the other reason that I really like what we're doing here in Nevada. And so the water chemistry concept is explained in much more detail. I think it's not complicated for people to get their heads around, to understand. And I like to think investors aren't just a bunch of dummies that they're sitting there to be plucked. I think there's a lot of people that think that's the case. I happen to be one that I'm in this game actually for the education, the learning, to understand these, how the world works, and it's a lot of fun. And so
it really is.
People that come into the water, jump on in.
Yeah, no, I just want to kind of end this interview on that topic, and just talk about, what is the opportunity that is presenting itself here in the mining sector. Is this a once-in-a-decade type opportunity, with the timing of the overall junior mining sector once in every couple decades? Is this, in your history of watching the cycles of the ups and downs of this very volatile, investing arena, what is your opinion on what we're seeing at the moment here?
In my mind, it's pretty clear, I think, that it's a paradigm shift. I mean, it's a major disruptor in how things, I think, are going to be done in the future. Water is a medium, like rocks are a medium, or soils is a medium, or plants are a medium of information that people have not got a lot of experience with. They have not spent a lot of time in it. And so in any new medium, there's always, early on, lots of information to learn. The first time geophysics was applied, it was just huge. It was a change. Everybody had to have it. Everybody started doing it. There were new discoveries everywhere. The low-hanging fruit presented itself by adding another filter to the game. And that's what this water chemistry technology is about. And it's slowly coming. I mean, it's like any curve of early adopters, and then the ones that come along after it's proven, and so on. We just happen to be in the very early stages doing the research and development, and so we're right at the tipping point as we demonstrate to a very primed audience that is desperate, dying. I mean, every producer out there needs reserves, and so that's our market. It isn't so much people that buy the final gold product. It's the people that know how to produce, to develop, to actually then permit a mine and build it. And there's lots of people like that are basically our consumer. And so when you generate targets and they start to realize that, by golly, you are onto something, what they want is, it's basically an unlimited demand. And so I don't need to worry as much about, once you have the gold, of course, it's not hard to find somebody that will want to buy it. And if you're able to find it for low cost, and that's what our focus is staying focused on lowering the cost of what we're doing, to be able to have, a small treasury that still allows us at low cost to have many bets, place many shot, drill lots of holes to test these targets. That allows us to increase the odds of eventually of success, because there's certainly a statistical aspect to this game. And so we have a new technology that if we find we drill one hole in rock, so people realize, oh, you're not just talking another bunch of water anomalies, you actually got a gold in rock for a change, then people in the market are all going to have to say, well, what the hell, let's lean into the story a little more. Oh, you mean you have other targets? You've collected thousands of samples in advance. You have to now go out and you've already done it? You've got other targets. Well, what are the odds that one of these other places you've got is also going to be a big winner? Holy crap, this thing is ramping up. And so there's a leverage aspect to what we're doing that is very unique, separate from all of our other peers in the business, where it's very hard to go out to find a good target, develop the geology around it and the story, and raise the money and drill the holes, and you do it again. In our case, it's very simple to go find another gold in groundwater anomaly, define it, and then you've got a very clear focus, and then the question is, let's immediately start drilling. And so what we've done is spend a lot of time getting that like a series of dominoes set up. Whole bunch of dominoes, quietly sitting here in the shadows on the sidelines, setting dominoes up, to one day kick over, one of these dominoes, and you get back and watch the entire little sinuoid, all the dominoes fall. And that's what I think the future, what I see in the future. That's what I'm focused on.
Well, everyone, if you want some skin in the game, the company's name is Nevada Exploration, and CEO and director Wade Hodges. Thanks for joining me. Ticker symbol is NGE if you'd like to do some more research on that yourself, or just visit the company's website, and we'll be sure to have that in the description area. Wade Hodges, do you have any final words of parting commentary before we say goodbye today?
Just keep it simple here. I'd love to encourage everybody to always do big things. Don't worry too much about what might happen, and enjoy the little things of the moment. And it's just a lot of fun when you get to focus on something that is obviously full of clear, upside, but then there's a lot of other unintended consequences, we'll call them. They're also very positive in understanding a whole new medium early on. So
great words of advice. Seize the day, enjoy every moment. I love it. Okay, sir, we will talk to you soon.
Okay, thanks so much, Kenneth.